1 to 10.
How are you, David?
You feel good. It's sunny out. Not raining. See you found a new place to go. Wes. See you found a new place to go.
Pardon me?
I see you found a new place to go. Mimi?
We could go down there on that.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. Begin with the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would ask you to please call the roll.
Supervisor Hawthorne.
Here.
Councilor Edwards.
Here.
Councilor Greco.
Here.
Councilor Haggerty. Here. Councilor Abbott. Here. Highway Superintendent Moyer. Here. Deputy Supervisor Knowski.
Here.
Okay, we
And
have
Assessor Mary Ann.
Okay.
motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to disperse for the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting for April the 14th and April the 28th.
Okay, everybody have a chance to read? Okay. Call the roll, please, Bruce.
Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Councilor Greco.
Yes.
Supervisor Hawthorne.
Yes.
Councilor Haggerty.
Yes.
Councilor Abbott.
Yes. Okay. I have a letter that I received from the New York State Town Clerks Association, dated May 4th. Dear Supervisor Hawthorne and Town Board, annually the New York State Town Clerks Association honors one of its members who has exhibited a high degree of professionalism in serving their office and who has contributed substantially toward the purpose of NYSTCA and the educational and professional development of town clerks. It is with great pride that we announce to you that Ruth Sheldon was among the nominees considered for this prestigious award. As you know, the town clerk's office is the focal point of town government. The town clerk is responsible for the management of all town records, the issuance of marriage, conservation, and dog licenses, and in many cases for recording births and deaths in the town. The next sentence, they left something else. I'm going to have to improvise. The town clerk is also the chief. I'm not quite sure what that is. And then it says, public, been recognized for her long-standing service to your town and its constituents, as shown by the complimentary observations of those who supported her for the nomination. The task of narrowing the selection was very difficult, if not almost impossible. Ruth Sheldon was not named Town Clerk of the Year. However, we are positive that she reigns as your perpetual Clerk of the Year. We, the New York State Town Clerks Association members, salute you on having a town clerk who holds such high admiration, qualifications, and respect of her constituents. And then it's Francis Wilcox, the chairman of the award committee.
Congratulations.
So, wanted to mention that grievance day is May 25th. And what is the hours, Marianne?
10 to 12 and 6 to 8.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't absolutely sure. There are some times for meeting with people before then. Tonight is one of those times, and Saturday morning?
Saturday's the last day.
Okay.
Then you can just come into the office.
Or they come in, and you're there almost every day in the mornings.
10 to 12 and
10 to
6
12,
to 8.
or 9 to 12.
9 to 1 on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. 10 to 12 and 6 to 8 on grievance day. They have to have that paperwork made out ahead of time.
We'd like it by Friday. We will accept it up to the day before. We prefer 2 days to look it over and such,
Okay.
but we will accept it up to the day of grievance.
All right, very good. Great.
We have special forms.
The forms are there on the table back near the assessor's office. the last meeting, some people were in talking about possibility of mining permit on Harris Hill Road. I did write that letter to the DEC, and I also talked to the gentleman from the DEC. And he said it's really quite early in the permit process, but he would accept the letter. And I put the emphasis of the letter on this intersection down here, which is really quite treacherous.
Read a copy of it, was well written.
Okay. Also, just want to give you a little update. We finally, after almost a year, got the report from Barton LaJudas regarding a water study on Route 48 North. Just received this quite recently, and we have already, with the help of our engineer, Mr. Gominiak, we have put in an application with the rural New York USDA for potential funding. Without funding, it's doubtful that if it went to a referendum, the people would want it. You're talking probably close to $1,000 a year per household. But with funding, we'll see what we can do.
What is it, revamping the water line out through there, or
No, it's extending the line from
from where it ends now?
up to Minetto.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'll start at the middle, coming this way.
There are quite a few people there who are anxious to get water. Some are not so anxious, so we'll see what
Is that
happens.
like the last one we did up in, on Route 48 South? The rural,
That was a whole different program, yeah. That was a self-help program,
yeah, that's not what this
and,
is.
and it was a different kind of financing. It was a bank financing. Rural New York is part of USDA. It's the old farmer's home. It's not an easy program to get into, but you take what you can get.
Did you ever, on your bids, did you ever think of, asking for bids on a purchase order basis?
Well, we're not to the point of doing anything with
I
bidding.
know, but when you get ready, you should think about this, it'd be something to look into. The state of New York's going to purchase order, which eliminates bonding, and as the contractor finishes the job, he gets paid as the job is finished. When the material arrives on the site, material is paid for. It's a 30-day turnaround on payment. It saves a lot of money because a small contractor like myself can do that. A small contractor like myself with bonding, it's got so that the state or cities or any of them can just stop anytime, and they don't cancel your bond. They have a get out of the contract clause of nobody's fault. And they've been doing that to the small contractors right along. So the small contractors can't bid. So the bids are the bigger contractors that are.
I'll talk to our engineer about it when it, when it gets close to the point where
You should
we're
look into that.
discussing that sort of thing. What we did, according to the records, it wasn't here, but when they put in the septic, or the sewer line on 11th Street, the town took a ban, which is a bond anticipation note, and so that all the bills could be paid as they came in. And then were reimbursed and used the state reimbursement to pay off the ban. Okay. Ruth, you had a couple of liquor license letters?
Yes, Bodie's and Club 48 have sent notification of, Bodie's a liquor license renewal and Club 48 for a summer liquor license.
We do not take action on these, but we like to let people know in case they want to pursue it.
What was the Club 48 one?
A summer
Summer?
liquor license, I'm not quite sure what that means. Perhaps it's outdoor consumption. The Justice Court is putting in a grant application, and a couple of things they're asking for, but the main thing is chairs to replace these so that we're not hiding back here. We'd like something they would like, and we would like something that's, we can adjust the height, and also that would swivel. You know, nothing too elaborate, but something better than these, which are probably 30 years or old or more. But they need a resolution from us authorizing the grant application. So,
Okay, you want me to read what you have written?
yes, please.
I'll make the resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Justice Court Assistance Program requesting chairs for the courtroom platform and a printer for the court for the department use.
Second to that?
I'll second.
Any questions about it?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
So this is a grant?
It would be, if we get it, would be a grant.
We couldn't hear what you,
Nancy, I
Dave, we couldn't hear what you said.
You couldn't hear me?
You said, he seconded it.
He seconded it.
about chairs, he said something about a printer or a tablet.
Oh, it says at the end, you got it right on your agenda itself.
Yeah, but you were discussion was for chairs.
And this other, I said,
And a printer for the
I said the,
court department use.
right.
Okay, I thought they had.
They'd like a computer and printer out here. I'm not sure how they would set that up.
Pass it, that's what we can, did you pass it?
Well, I made
We
a,
haven't voted yet,
Is this a grant from the state or the court system?
the court
So
system.
there's no money involved with the town, is that the idea?
correct.
If we don't get it, we don't do it. Although I would like to someday do something with these chairs.
No,
But,
I just, it's not costing the town any money, it's a grant from the
right.
justice court system or.
They've applied in the past. One of the things they applied for and received was a bond, you know, whatever you call it. And one year they applied for a computer in their office and they received that also.
I remember that, yeah.
Well, even, again, since then, they've got a newer one. Okay? Okay, Ruth, would you call the roll?
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Greco?
Yes.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Yes.
Counselor Haggerty?
Yes.
Counselor Abbott?
Okay. Need to transfer a little bit more to the insurance account, had an additional bill, $360. Make that resolution.
I'll make that resolution.
Okay.
I talk. Get an echo.
Any discussion?
You don't get echo, do you?
Will you call the roll on that one?
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Greco?
Yes.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Yes.
Counselor Haggerty?
Yes.
Counselor Abbott?
Okay. Now, yesterday I received a letter. This is from Les Johnson, member of the Troop Committee, Boy Scout Troop 750. The Scouts, leaders, and members of the committee, Boy Scout Troop 750, take great pleasure in announcing that having completed the requirements for and having been examined by an Eagle Scout Board of Review, Brett W. Johnson is found worthy of the rank of Eagle Scout. And in honor of this achievement, we've scheduled an Eagle Scout Court of Honor on June 6th. We would appreciate a letter or certificate acknowledging his achievement. We will compile it with other acknowledgments and place in a scrapbook commemorating this special occasion. If it's okay with you, I'll do something like that. I've done it before.
All right.
Make a motion, we can do that.
Okay?
I'll second it.
And
He's quite a good boy, I don't know if you've ever met him or not,
I don't think I have. Now, is this Les's son?
yes,
Uh-huh.
very good lady, works down at Struppler's
Oh, okay.
Wednesday,
I know who he is.
Yeah, I know.
I've seen this
Very,
name tag.
very nice lad.
I will find out more about what he did to earn the rank
Where
of
is the,
Eagle Scout.
where's it gonna be?
All Saints Church.
Where?
Episcopal.
I don't think we have to,
No.
did we have much? We don't really have to vote on it, as long as you would
Yeah.
give me the okay to write this letter or prepare a certificate or both.
No legislators tonight.
Okay, any legislator here?
Learn that existed tonight.
Why is that?
Well, they don't wanna sell the plant, they don't wanna sell the nursing home.
Yeah.
I don't know, they want it.
I have some reports.
Because they're close to it, they're closer to the finish line.
Dog control officer. For the report for the month of April 2004, the number of complaints 30, number of dogs picked up 1, number of dogs destroyed 0, number of dogs released 1, number of dogs on hand 0. We had donated food, $1 for ads, monthly mileage was $237, and adoption fees were $5. That's collected. Assessors, Mary Ann?
About 250 change of assessment notices went out. We had some people call, we discussed some of their assessments. I think all but 2 have been resolved. Those 2 I think will proceed to grievance. That's about it.
When did they go out?
The notices went out, and I got mine last week. Tentative roll is on in Ruth's office and in our office for anyone to view.
So the notice, if you didn't receive a notice, you probably say, it doesn't change?
You would have only received a notice if there was some change, either an increase in your assessment, a decrease in your assessment, parcel splits that weren't a parcel last year, but now they are, property merges, and if you have a new tax number. That's why those 250, those weren't all increases and decreases.
Okay. I have a letter from the historian. I had a request from Nancy Cornell of Greenwood, New York, regarding genealogy research on the Scanlon family. He was able to locate information for her in the assessment rolls, and Ruth was able to locate information on the genealogy end of it. We sent the information off in a timely fashion. I will be numbering boxes and shelves in the records room in the very near future. That's Elaine Woolridge, the historian. Planning board? Anybody? I know they're working on a couple applications. ZBA, they're also working on something.
Yeah, no applications last month, but we've received one this month, and we have a hearing scheduled for an area variance Tuesday, the 18th.
18th.
At 7 o'clock.
It occurred to me today, you probably are not having a meeting on the 25th,
That's correct.
Good.
I have to assume that, though, sorry.
because that is grievance
All right.
night, and that we ran into that last year, remember?
Yes.
There was a conflict of,
ZBA hearing, that's correct.
but that's next week.
And I believe our chair is able to attend on the 25th, that's also.
Okay.
That was,
Okay.
changed.
Well, it works out well, because that was a little difficult last year, I think, to accommodate both.
This director, she's got an ad to run an ad.
Yes, there's, I think the current activity, I didn't bring the list
The zoo,
with me, but
okay.
is trip to the zoo on a Saturday.
Yeah, this coming Saturday, is it?
I don't recall the date.
22nd,
Mhm.
Roseman Zoo, 11 to 1.
I think that our new director is doing a very, very fine job, as near as I can see so far.
Who that was?
Highway superintendent.
I'll just start by saying congratulations to Ruth. I know she works very hard in serving the people that come in here, because I happen to be in here sometimes, and she always tries her darndest to take care of them. So we're lucky to have her. April, I'll go back kind of a few months here and work around because I missed a couple meetings. But that's when we begin our transition into the road repair rather than plowing. And I'll kind of give you a rundown of what we do. We start with prepping and painting all the plows and wings. And this year we had a break in the weather in March, so we had our people, they had the time to rebuild 3 of the snow plows. They get a little loose jointed sometimes, and if we don't go in and rebuild them and rebush them and stuff, you drive down the road, you'll notice that the plow will start doing this in front of the truck, and it's really not a safe thing to have, so. And then the sanders come off, they're prepped and painted, the conveyor chains are removed, and we store them in oil to preserve them. Wash the trucks up with the salt and sand, and then we put on the tarps and the box aprons. And this year we took some time and stripped down one of the dump boxes and repainted that, did a little welding on it. So a lot of effort goes into maintaining the equipment. Again, roadside dumping problems. I know we talked about this before. This time we got the DEC involved again. We had a guy dump a trailer load of trash on King Road and come up with some names, and he went over and nailed them and made them come clean the stuff up, and he thought he was going to ticket them. The fine can be up to $1,000, but I didn't hear the result of that. We also picked up 600 pounds of stuff that was dumped on Bingham Road, 460 pounds dumped on Stony Robbie Road, and 960 pounds of tires were dumped on Merritt Road. We have the weights on these because we take them down to the county burn plant, and we weigh in and out, so you know just what this stuff is up to. Roadside mower has been gone through. We're going to start mowing probably next week. We'd like to get one cut done by Memorial Weekend. The new fuel tank has been painted, installed, and I got that registered with the DEC. Roads and intersections in town have been swept with debris and sand, as we're required to do. We started hauling stone for summer projects. The Merritt Cemetery fence, which we picked up last fall, you probably remember about that. The guys got that repaired, and that's been installed. Probably the whole metal fence could stand painting again, so if you guys hear of any organization, volunteers, Boy Scouts who want to do a program, that would probably be one they could work on again. The Gradall's been out throughout the town cleaning up the roadsides that were damaged by the plows and the wings, particularly on the intersections where they turn and dump off snow. They tend to pile up sod and stuff, and we like to get that cleaned up. The two-way radio tower behind the garage has been inspected, and I'm waiting for the report on that to see if we need to do any repairs on it. And finally, the employees attended OSHA and hazmat training as required each year. That's all I have.
I know you put in a request, have you heard anything on whether your request for a salt shed is going to be honored by the state or not?
I haven't heard anything on it.
Haven't heard anything on
Not
it?
a thing.
The men that work for the town highway department, they pick up the heavy stuff along the road, right? I mean,
Yes.
the heavier stuff.
Well, if it's, depending on what it is, sometimes if it's really bad garbage, we'll send a grade all out and pick it up, or if it's something really heavy, we use a grade all. But, yeah, other than that, they just pick it up and throw it in the truck, and we take it into the burn plant.
You might, excuse me, you might add, it's good for all of us to be aware as we grab around the town. We have to end up paying for all this when people dump it, am I correct?
Well, the
They
county
won't-
right now isn't charging you for us, but of course, there's the time it takes
I thought they were
to
charging.
tie the guys up and run it down there. So, no, right now, they're not.
So then that's
It stays
all,
that way.
I thought because of the new policy, they changed it. Oh, they did, all right.
A lot of the problem we're having on Bingham Road is dumping bags of cat litter.
Well, it's not only that, but a gentleman down the Bingham Road last week was tearing down something, and he littered the Bingham Road from where he lives right straight up through to the intersection of 8 and the Bingham Road. We ran after him and told him. He did go back and pick some of it up, but he also littered up over the hill on Honey Hill on the left-hand side as you're going towards Les's place. He littered along there. Where he was going with all this trash, I have no idea, because he cannot make it from the Bingham Road to the county landfill in Valney and back in 15 minutes. I can tell you right now, even I don't drive that fast.
Lynn, I would like to say, I know you've been seeing me a lot over here lately, but it's only because I'm retired now. I got a lot of extra things to do. I don't have many extra things to do, excuse me. But I would like to say that when I walk in over there, you guys are always busy, rebuilding, refurbishing. It's just, it's good to see you doing your own work. You save a lot of money. And the guys are very conscientious.
They like to keep busy, and I like to keep them busy, so I try.
Yeah.
You know you're checking on it, Dave, that's good.
Well,
No kid, that's a good deal.
I miss it from being out to 9 Mile.
Yeah, but that's a good deal, that's all right.
I used to go every day with this.
But they are a busy bunch, and they do good work.
You
have a report from the Code Enforcement Office for the month of April. Building permits issued 21, fees collected $2,989.25, construction value $382,700, 38 inspections, 5 zoning complaints, 3 for garbage, a letter sent, 1 dismantling, a phone call and letter, 1 junk vehicle, 2 phone calls and a letter. The owner is coming in May 6th for a meeting. Okay. Junk vehicles removed 6. Unfit mobile homes removed 5, plus 1 obtained a demo permit. Violations closed were 5, fire inspections 9. That's from the Code Enforcement Office. Okay. I've provided the town board with the monthly report from the supervisor, which is the financial report for the month. The income and outgo, I've closed the month of April and everything is balanced to the penny, and we're in good shape in terms of matching our budget, or where we should be in the budget at this particular time of the year. Working on a variety of things that we've made mention of, or will be making mention of, I'm sure. And Ruth?
We're very quiet. We've gotten past tax season, and there should be people coming in with dog licenses, but other than that, we're very quiet.
I don't want to embarrass Ruth, but in the letter that I wrote, I indicated as an example of her dedication how many times she has got all the way out to her car and come back in and booted up her computer because someone came just as she's leaving to get a dog license or whatever, and she takes care of them. Okay. Let's have,
I'll make a motion to approve the payment of the town bills as audited for abstract 051 in the amount of $8,140.40 from general fund, $12,763.02 from highway fund, $82.95 from the Willibob Lighting District, $1,136.25 from West River Road North Sewer District.
that last item is for a annual payment for the pump station. Okay, second to that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, remember that the June meeting, June 9th, hope I got the right date this time. Yes. There will be, first off, a public hearing on the changes to the sliding scale for the partial exemption for senior citizens, and then we'll continue with our regular meeting. Public comment, please come forward if you have something.
I have one question. I have about this one.
No, I just,
About Walmart. Have you people heard anything? Don't mind the hole in my pants. Did you people hear anything about Walmart's soil, testing of the soil or anything?
I've heard that rumor over and over again. Whether it's a rumor, whether it's true, I have no,
Did you people hear anything?
we have not heard anything, no.
Did your people hear anything about it?
No, they have not, they would come here first.
I see they're emptying the restaurant all out. They're taking everything out of the
Oh,
restaurant.
I don't know.
Just wondering if you heard anything.
No, I have not heard whether it's, even if still a go or not a go.
You never heard anything? Okay.
No, ma'am.
Can I make a quick comment? I want to congratulate Ruth Sheldon for her outstanding work. And the town of Granby has really been fortunate to have people like Ruth Sheldon and the Fullers, who were town clerks before Ruth, and who's carrying on a great tradition. And she's an outstanding person, and we're very fortunate to have her.
Very good.
Thank you.
This is kind of a question, Nancy, for you. The young lady who spoke here that heads the youth group, very nice young lady. In driving around the road, that's why I asked Lynn if the town picks up the heavy trash, but you see a lot of lightweight trash along the road, like bags and McDonald's containers and bottles and et cetera. Would it be possible for our youth group to go along, take 1 day a week or 1 day, 2 days a month, and pick this stuff up, and then in some way the town could add some money to the youth fund or something for that in lieu of, and not that I want to take the work away from Lynn and his men, but in lieu of paying the highway people to do it? Nothing heavy, just, you know, the everyday trash you see along the road, battles and et cetera.
It's a pretty dangerous.
I think we have a lot of.
Well,
It's pretty
you see,
dangerous.
when you adopt a highway, you see these kids along the highway,
I
they
know
have
it.
vests on and et cetera. The state does it. If it's not dangerous for the state, I can't see where it'd be dangerous.
But it is, a girl was killed last year
Well, Mexico,
doing the same thing,
yeah.
you know, out
And they
near
had all the
Mexico.
protection, the vest, the road signs, they had everything in place, and she still got hit by a car.
It's just, the first thing comes to my mind is liability.
Uh-huh.
It's a
I
thought,
was just
but
thinking of a way they could make money, you know, for the youth group.
The youth program is entertainment for the youth for the summer. Picking up bottles is not
I
entertainment.
realize
And
that,
it's
but
not-
they also need money to go on this entertainment, Rosie.
it's not an organized group. It
Oh,
is.
it's not an organized
No,
group?
you see, every activity is open to all Granby youth between 5 and 15. So one
Is
time
there a
it-
fund that?
And we have grant money that pays for
You
half
have
the
grant money,
cost.
But there's no, like, general fund where the public can contribute or anything?
I think we have an adequate amount,
Do you?
because
Okay.
we put in for the
Right.
grant, and we increased the amount that we asked for, and we received it,
Okay, well, I
so.
was just asking,
Yeah.
because I thought it'd be a good way to earn money for the kids.
Right.
In your last report there on the code enforcement office, you said they had handed out summonses or tickets or whatever you hand out, notices and et cetera. You mentioned the tearing down of something. What was that?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know?
It was, you know, people come in, they
Demolition
get
permit?
demolition permits, maybe you
It
have
was
one.
one trailer that was taken apart. It was 5 trailers were removed, and the other one couldn't be removed safely, so they took it apart.
So they took it apart? Because the fellow I was talking about on the Bingham Road, that's what he did. He tore down an old trailer over there, and he didn't have a permit. Plus, on top of that, he had a hole dug over there so that he could burn, and he's been burning all that trash over there in that hole. But I was talking to Dave Edwards one day this past week
He was?
about the condition of properties at the north end of Granby from County Route 8, and he did agree with me. He's driven around. I was born and raised in the town of Granby, and never in my life till last week did I ever see dead rats in the road. And there were dead rats in the road on the Honey Hill Road and on the Chase Road. And if you drive, just get in your car and take a drive up Honey Hill Road. Look to your right and your left as you go up past Les's house and on through. You'll see some of the worst garbage places you have ever seen in your life. There's garages that have collapsed and have been there. There's places on the Bingham Road that have been vacant for over 3 years. Part of them have collapsed. Places on 85 the same way. According to the code book, the way I read it, those places are supposed to be dismantled after a year. They're supposed to be boarded up, and if they're vacant and supposed to be boarded up and then done away with after a certain length of time. I'd have to have the book in front of me now to. And then there's a trailer that's been sitting on the Honey Hill Road down towards 48 for the last 2 years that I know of. It's been partially dismantled. It sits there all twisted and broken, and insulation blowing when the wind blows, blowing all over the roadside and the lots and fields around there. They don't seem to be doing anything about it. And I thought you had to have a permit to dismantle, for one thing. I thought if you wanted to dismantle something, you had to come here and buy a permit.
Supposed to.
And,
There's people that do things
Oh, no, I
without
realize that.
coming, and we
But,
don't always know about it.
No, true, but I think if somebody went for a ride with Dave, because Dave's been around, as he was telling me the other morning,
Oh, yeah.
and looked at some of these things, you get an idea of what we're talking about. Because if you want people to build in Granby, which Granby's a very nice town, they don't wanna build and have a nice home within the vicinity of something that looks like that.
I know.
I wrote down the comments and I'll give them to
Okay,
the
you
guys.
can talk to them about it, and,
I'll follow
you
up
know,
on it.
when they hear about these things, they have been,
Well, the report you gave was a good report.
contacting people, and, the one thing about abandoned buildings, I think there's something in the new state code. Is that what you were referring to?
No, I'm referring to I forget what page it's on in that blue code book that Granby has, you know,
Okay.
the one that they have here that you
The
can.
zoning?
Yeah,
The zoning?
zoning and code, that's what they go by, the codes and the zoning laws in there. And it's in there, I forget exactly
I
what
think
page
I know what
it's
you're
on.
talking about
But
now,
it's
about
in there.
boarding it up, but as
No.
far as abandoned homes, I recall years ago that there was a proposal for the town to pass an abandoned building ordinance. But we have checked the minutes, and we cannot find that it ever
Well,
actually
someplace it
got
must have happened,
passed.
because the statement is in that book.
Well-
So somebody must have had some insight on it somewhere, something must have come down from somebody.
Right, but I mean,
You know.
it's one thing to, board something up, and another thing to get rid of a abandoned
Well,
house.
there's a house and a garage very near Les's house, that the house has been abandoned for quite a long time, and the garage is now collapsed from the winter. And if a child should wander in there,
Right.
because the cellar walls are pushing in and everything, you know, and it came down, there'd be liability there for somebody. And I'm sure the landowner that had it originally, they're long gone, so. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Said all that properly, though. There's one way you bring it to the attention of the zoning guy, and tell them about it. Somebody's got all that.
Nothing.
Anyone else?
They get paid to drive around.
How are we doing on our soil assessor? Are we got anybody in mind yet, or?
We put the ad in the paper, we've received a couple of applications, we are still, the time is not up for receipt of applications, and then by the end of May, we will interview and appoint at the next regular board meeting.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Just on your chairs, you can buy those chairs pretty reasonable at Staples and BJ's, so.
We were looking at some of the catalogs from Staples and,
Rather than wait, they have sales for $30 and they're not bad. I got one and it works all right, so if it'll hold me, it'll hold you,
well,
They're not bad, but, if you're, probably if you're gonna submit for bids or something like that on chairs, or you're gonna submit to somebody, you're gonna take a licking on them.
well, we'll just do some comparison shopping, like any good consumer, and,
I guess one other thing, on that house that's next door to me and the garage, years ago, it belonged to my uncle and aunt. Years ago, when my aunt went into the nursing home and the county took that over, and they put it up for sale, I own all the property all around it. There's less than 2/3 of an acre of land there. I sent the county put it up for sale after she passed on. I sent them a letter, and Bruce, gosh, I can't remember his last name.
Stillman,
Pardon me?
Stillman?
No,
Clark?
Clark.
Clark.
Bruce Clark was the attorney. And I told him that there was no septic system there, and there was no well. The well was on my property, because it was all one piece of property at one time, and my uncle split it up. I did. I told him I didn't feel that they could sell it because there wasn't enough room for a septic system on it. And he sent me back a letter that says, and I still got the letter, that the county, it grandfathers in, and the county can do what they want with it, and they were gonna get their money out of it. And they did. They sold it to a guy by the name of Hardy. He got the septic system passed. They drilled a well, and after the young couple moved in, their well was no good. They had to bring water in. I don't know how they got a test on it or anything, but anyway, make a long story short, they split up. The house went on the market again. It went back to HUD. It went on the market again, and HUD found out. In the meantime, the county had told them that they couldn't use the house anymore because the septic system was bad. So they condemned it. So they couldn't, HUD couldn't sell it, only in the as-is thing. And so they sold it as an as-is, and the poor guy that bought it, paid an enormous amount of money for it, thinking that he could fix it and move in. After he bought it, he put all that sheetrock in it, and he started fixing it all up, and they stopped him. So that's where the house is set all these years. I put the blame on the county right from the beginning. The county knew that there wasn't enough room for a place there. The county knew that, and they just continued on. And the laws were in effect at that time that you had to have an acre of land to build on, but there really wasn't anything to stop it. So this is what we've got. We've got a house that the cellar is apparently caving in, the garage is falling in, and you know, and I was quite upset because I couldn't buy the doggone place myself. And so
Who
it's
owns it now?
Pardon me?
County? The county still owns it?
No, the fellow who owns it lives in Syracuse. He won't sell it. He is mad. He's upset. He won't sell it. It just sits there and it's falling down. I think he figures he's just gonna let it fall down. Because I was upset. I wouldn't sell him any land. I just wouldn't. There was no reason for me to.
Well, there's a certain amount of buyer beware. I mean, you know,
Well,
people
yeah,
have to
there
do
is,
some
you know.
investigating.
There is, and I feel that way, and I think that the government takes too much buyer beware out of the system, but I think the government certainly shouldn't put it out there.
Well, I mean, I don't know what they represented when they sold it to them, what they told them. It was,
Well,
you know,
it's just what I
we
told
could
you,
or could
so.
not do, so.
But they shouldn't, they shouldn't have done that, that's all.
But
But that's,
as you know, the septic is by state code, and it's a county that approves it. We don't.
Oh, yeah, the town had nothing to do with it.
Right.
The town had nothing to do with it. Thank you.
Could I make a comment to Mr.
I have
Williamson?
one more question. Nancy, are you working on a comprehensive plan?
Yes.
Are you working on it?
Yes.
I hate to see that dry up.
It's not going to. You wanted to?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing to Mr. Williamson's comment about cleaning up the side of the roads. Mexico, I believe it's the highway department, there is a program in place where different organizations can obtain a certain stretch of roads to take and do, and they'll come around and pick up that, they'll put a sign up there with your name on it, this area is responsibility of whomever.
Adopt the road.
Adopt the
kind of
road,
thing.
that's still intact. So if you know of anybody that wants to do that, maybe that specific area.
I would have a way that the unions could get extra money to go different places, because I know they let, let's face it, when they're kids, they don't want to go different places.
Okay, I'm sorry, Rose, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted, I know we had something to say. Is there anything, did you finish?
Pardon?
Did you finish your question?
You finish your question?
Well, yeah, I wanna
Okay.
know what you're doing on a comprehensive.
We're working on it, yes, and I wanted these two new people to have a chance to get through it and get up to
I'm pretty much read through it.
snuff, and I'd like to set a special meeting very soon to bring in the girl from the county, okay?
Nancy, I have one question.
Yes.
Do you have a list of things you're gonna ask this sole assessor when you interview?
We're working on a list of questions, so that each interview will be
Do you have
consistent.
an amount you're gonna pay for the year, for each year?
We have not totally determined that, but I think this year it will probably be something similar to what we have, or if not exactly what we have left in the budget. But we haven't, we have yet to negotiate that. Anything else?
Just one quick question.
Sure.
What's occurred since November, December, as far as the water situation and the fireworks?
The fireworks, we passed a resolution, I don't have it with us. Maybe I do.
Might have it.
A few months ago,
I don't know if you want to, this is one.
that's not the resolution, that's the application.
No, that's an application, right.
Here it is.
Local law,
I don't have the date on this, but I think we did this at least 2 months ago. That, we, in effect, it says the town expects all public displays of fireworks conform to New York State Penal Law, Section 405, which is, you gave me a copy of that, we had a copy of that. And so be it resolved that the application permit for fireworks be revised to provide for a detailed examination of any plan for a public fireworks display, and that an inspection of the premises take place to determine compliance with the provisions of said section 405 before the application is brought to the town board for approval or disapproval.
Why didn't you send them a notice of that? They never got notice.
I'm sorry, I should have, I slipped up. I should have sent you a letter saying we passed that.
Hey, you're slipping up an awful lot.
Has there been application, Jack?
No.
If there is, I guess my question is this town board going to take a stand as far as guidelines or anything?
The guidelines are, are spelled out in section,
What about cleanup of the aftermath and stuff and disturbing animals in the community and litter going all over everybody's property and
fires.
fire hazards and, you know, there's something there that perhaps maybe the town board should maybe also deal with.
I don't remember. Was some of that in section 405?
It's covered in 1403.
My main point though is I still request that don't bring up the issue.
Close to a gas station.
Well, we will go by this law. If they comply with all sections of the law, then, you know, I don't know that we can deny it.
Nancy, if his mother's roof could catch on fire, the gas station's almost closed too.
I'm just saying what we did is decide to be sure that our application provides enough. Okay? Anyone else?
Yeah, but under the penal code, it spells out this is, and they don't have the room.
Can they go ahead, if they don't have the room, can they just ignore it?
No.
It's the penal code.
They have to comply with your.
This is New York State Penal Code. I mean, I wouldn't if I were them.
Well, yeah, but you're not them. That's what I'm saying.
Well, they have the fireworks, I got the state police number. They do too, don't worry. They have it, then it's called.
Anything else?
I don't know what they're gonna do.
I have one more question. Are you gonna, before you award this to whoever you're awarding it to, when you decide for the sole assessor, are you going to put it in the paper, your choice, and how much they're gonna get paid? What kind of qualifications they have?
I think we will announce it at the next board meeting.
If we wanna look at the, buses contest too. We wanna do that.
And we would like to know the qualifications of our sole assessor.
You'll be informed, but we're going through the process, and
That's what we want.
I haven't finished preparing all the questions.
That's what we want. We wanna be informed. That's all we wanna do.
Can't say that you're always gonna be informed ahead, and maybe after the fact, but, okay.
we can.
Is that it?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.